This changes everything for the Tampa Bay Lightning. Fights and penalties and endless chirps, oh my. But a heroic goal completely shifted the momentum of this playoff series. We're going to break down everything right here on Lightning Digest. Now, first things first, if you haven't yet, make sure you hit that subscribe button. I've been loving the energy in the comments. Thank you so much. Subscribe. We're building a fabulous community here just in time for playoff hockey. It's amazing. Bolts fans, remember this feeling, okay? The series is tied 1-1. The Canadiens finally got a taste of their own medicine, losing in overtime. This was a game that the Bolts needed to win, and I loved the energy that our Bolts came in with, okay? Hit after hit after hit. It was so tit for tat, and that's something that we talked about from previous matchups against Montreal, was if they're going to come after your guys, if they're going to come after your best line, especially, you come after theirs, that Suzuki, Slavkovsky, Caulfield line. Get after it. And it was so funny. We saw Gonçalves at one point really poking the bear. He was skating through the crease between the Canadiens goalie Dobas and the net, and he looked so locked in on the bench. He knew what he was doing, really trying to get under Dobas' skin. So I loved that. I loved that, they were so locked in on the game because Gonçalves looked really in the zone on that bench. And then between the two teams, we had 5 roughing penalties. So this game, none of the players were letting up. And I loved seeing that the Bolts especially were so up for the challenge. Yanni Gourde, who's like 5'9", was going up against Arber Xhekaj, who's 6'4". And I love the heart he has in the game. He's not afraid to back down. At one point in the game, I was hysterical laughing. The announcers were like, oh, these players are snappy-pappy. Just the funniest way to describe them, describe tough, aggressive hockey players as snappy-pappy, but they were all so snappy. One thing that I didn't love about this game was honestly the amount of saves that Dobas had, because our offense was on fire. And if the Canadiens didn't have the goalie that they did, he was surely the MVP of that team that night, then I think this would have been a much higher scoring game for the Bolts. But nevertheless, the game went into overtime, which I don't know how many more overtime games I can take in this series, truly. It is a lot for me. I was up at 2 a.m. in Greece, and I think by about 6 a.m., by the time the game was over, probably the entire island of Santorini was up, because all I was doing was just screaming at my telephone. I was watching on ESPN, but this game was incredible. Overtime was, without a doubt, in the Lightning's favor. 8 minutes in, we had 6 shots on goal. The Canadiens, 0. 10.5 minutes in, we had 8 shots on goal. Canadiens, 0. We outscored them, outshot them 9-0. We definitely outscored them as well, but we outshot them 9-0 in overtime. I don't know what happened to the Canadiens in overtime, but it's like they weren't there. And honestly, good for us. But great for JJ Moser. Game-winning overtime goal. This is his first ever playoff overtime game-winning goal. So he was surely the hero of the night. And this was definitely one to remember. We have it from all different angles here. Celebration, the previous aerial view. It was just an incredible game. And now another guy that was absolutely unstoppable. One of my favorite players on this team, Brayden Hagel. Hagel is a dog. He fought Slavkovsky early in the second period. 2 of the most prominent players in this series. Hagel was pounding Slavkovsky. That was an easy win for Hagel. Look at that. Oh yeah, on the floor. One more time. I could not stop watching this. This was incredible. Yeah, without a doubt, Hagel won that fight. And Hagel was fired up. Like, he's getting the crowd going. He's like, everyone on your feet. He just had that winning look in his eyes. Like, you do not want to go up against Brayden Hagel. And when he was fighting Slavkovsky right after the fight, he did this like little like showing that Slafkovsky's too small, can't go up against Brandon Hagel. And then when he just skated right into the box, and Cirelli came in just to kind of like give him a pat on the back, like, good job, bro. We know they're besties. And so I love seeing that encouragement between them. Yeah, Hagel absolutely capitalized on every opportunity he could. Here's him celebrating, happy as ever. Because at one point in the game, in the first period, when Hagel scored his goal, one of the Canadiens players lost his stick. So even though it was 5-on-5, they were at even strength, the Canadiens had a major disadvantage because one player was without a stick, and Hagel took that opportunity to find a good spot to unleash a crazy shot that banked in off the post right past Dabas, which you just saw. Unreal. Hagel had a Gordie Howe hat trick in this game. That's when you have a goal, an assist, and a fight. And you know what? It's even better when you win the fight, which he absolutely did. Look at him. Happy, celebrating with Radish here. I'm sure all of us Bolts fans were the same way watching this game. And yeah, like I said, when you actually win the fight, that makes the Gordie Howe hat trick all the more amazing and thrilling. And Hagel's not a guy you want to go up against. Look at him. That man's got that dog in him. You do not want to go up against Brandon Hagel. And this is my favorite photo of the game. Quite possibly one of my favorite photos of all time. Hang it in the Louvre. Iconic, lock screen worthy, mantle above the mantle worthy. I don't know. Do with it what you will, as you wish. But this is one of the best, in my opinion, hockey photos of all time. And in even better news, we just have good news on top of good news on top of good news. The curse is finally over for the Bolts and for Nikita Kucherov. Kuch ended his 16 playoff game goal drought. He tied the game at 2-2. In the third period on an incredible wraparound goal that Dabas just did not see coming. And Kuch's last playoff goal was in April 2023. Ladies and gentlemen, it is April 2026. 3 years. The curse is over. The Bolts are up. Another MVP of the game, our goalie, Vasilevskiy. He was incredible. He stopped 25 out of 27 shots. And his opponent on the Canadiens is not an easy goaltender to be compared to either. Jakub Dabas is young, and he stopped 30 out of 33 shots. So the goaltending in this series is really something to look to because these are two, in my opinion, of the league's strongest goalies. And even though Dabas is a lot younger, you got to give credit where it's due. The Canadiens have great goaltending, but the Bolts did a great job at getting past that. So yeah, overall, also the team, you know, as we said after game one, this is a special teams war between these teams. And the Canadiens have such a lethal power play that the Bolts cannot afford to take penalties against the Canadiens. So moving forward to continue this success and momentum that we're having, the Bolts either need to figure out their penalty kill and keep it as strong as it was during the regular season or stay out of the penalty box. And I know they're an emotional team and we have Brandon Hagel, who's a very emotional leader, but you have to figure out to minimize the Canadiens' chances at the power play as much as possible. Thankfully, the team didn't make as many of those silly rookie mistakes as we saw in game one. In the first period, Montreal had 5 roughing penalties and 1 high sticking. Tampa had 7 roughing penalties and 1 cross-checking. So the cross-checking maybe was, that's something you pay attention to moving forward. Roughing, it's playoffs. It's aggressive. We actually had a pretty worrisome moment. Sabrin just had a reckless hit on Anderson with 2:15 left in the game. And initially, the refs gave him a 5-minute major, and thankfully they downgraded it to a 2-minute minor. But oh my goodness, those final 2 minutes and then 15 seconds, but those 2 minutes of that Canadiens power play, I was holding my breath because the game was tied. And to put in a rough guy like Sabrin, I'm not really sure why Coop thought it was a good idea to put him in, because obviously Sabrin's here for that physicality and aggression and to really be the enforcer. So when the game is tied and, you're in the last 2 and some change minutes of the game, you don't want to put in a guy who's going to be getting penalties, because now we're down a man. 2:15 left in the game. Game's tied. We're all freaking out. And Sabrin admitted that was a very bad mistake on his part. He said the last thing you want to do is go out there and put your team shorthanded. That was the kind of issue for us in game one. It's definitely a line that I'm going to have to toe and try to play between the whistles, assert myself physically when I can, but without hurting the team, because this certainly could have hurt us. Anderson was slow to get up after that hit from Sabrin. And Sabrin's lucky that we were successful on the penalty kill after that, because that would have cooked us, honestly. Right then and there, you might as well have given the Canadiens the series win at that point. But thankfully, that's not what happened, so we're optimistic. But I was very worried and quite traumatized after that. Looking ahead, we've got some updates for you. Victor Hedman, our captain, he is doubtful for the series. More than likely, he's not going to be playing in this series. Holmberg also still needs a few more weeks of recovery due to his injury, so he most likely won't be playing in this series as well. Hedman is still traveling to Montreal with the team, so they will have that presence that he gives, which is good. And Destu is progressing. We're hoping that he'll skate in Montreal, but that's all the injury updates we have for now. Looking ahead to Game 3, you're playing at Bell Center. Brandon Hagel has said that he's so excited to play here because he feels grateful and lucky to have this opportunity to play at such a rowdy arena. And it's crazy because he was loved at Bell Center during previous games. He's Canadian. You're playing in Montreal, Four Nations. Everyone was amped up when he was fighting Matthew Tkachuk. But now you're playing for an American team. So things are a little different. Coop said he hopes that those fans have a soft spot for Hagel, but I don't know if they will, honestly. That's a rowdy crowd. And what I love is just how excited the Bolts are to play there. They're not scared. They're not afraid. They're ready for the challenge. They're seeing it, positively. They want that playoff energy to feed off of. But yeah, looking ahead, we've also got a lot of line changes for sure. I think that's certainly the coaching was a major aspect of this win that we had in Game 2, because Coop was just moving around the players like they're in a blender or something. So many line changes. Cooch at one point moved to the fourth line. He took a fourth line shift just to get more reps. So Coop definitely knows what he's doing. I'm confident our coaching is top notch. And I think that we're on a really good roll right now. And if the players, honestly, if they play the way that they did in overtime, it's a wrap for Montreal. At that point, the Canadiens might as well just stay in Canada. But can't get too sure of ourselves. We're just going to be rooting for the Bolts, rooting for them strong, hoping they win. And if you got this far, thank you so much for tuning in. Once again, be sure to subscribe. And you know what? Word on the street is that if you subscribe to this channel, it actually brings you a lot of luck for your favorite team. Bolts fan or not, I heard it brings you luck, so you may as well subscribe and find out. Well, with that said, thank you all so much for tuning in, and get ready for some Game 3 coverage. Go Bolts!